I'm delighted to do this program. This program is meant for students, particularly teenagers. So I'm at least going to focus on the teens and their parents. It's also relevant for the general public to understand what is going on in our brain. The brain is everything. You succeed because your brain functions better than other people's brain. And but unfortunately, we don't pay attention to the brain, and it's science which is still in its infancy. And one thing that I want to recommend people to do is to read a book by David Eagleman, The Brain. He's from Stanford, quite a celebrity. And he's wondering why people have not looked at the brain, even the educationists, because everything that we do is related to the brain. We look at the world, and then it is the brain that is looking at the world. And then why we have not really paid attention to the brain and intelligence, given the centrality that it occupies. And he writes something very relevant, and I want to just quickly read that to you, and then I will give my presentation. And this is what he writes. I used to wonder why our society so rarely talks about the brain, preferring instead to fill our airways with celebrity gossip and reality shows. So this is what is happening. And he's asking the question why people are interested in celebrity gossip, soap operas, but not in understanding intelligence. It is because everybody is a teenager, including the adults. And that is the problem. Why? What do I mean by teenager? Teenagers represent the emotional brain. Okay, in teenagers, and later on, Beth is going to talk about it at length. The teenagers act from their amygdala, which is the brain that controls their activity. They want to be heroes. I will give you my own example. When I was 12 years old, I was born and raised in Rameshwaram. So I went and bought a pack of fake cigarettes, which are candies, and very, you can bite and chew it very quickly. So I went and then I bought a pack of this cigarette candy, and I went to my dad, and I was smoking this fake cigarette in front of my dad. My older brother came and beat me up, okay, for doing that in front of my father. And why did they do that? Because the rebellion is the nature of the teenagers. Why? Because they are acting from their amygdala, because they want to be heroes, okay? And that's why the one classic statement that I have come up with is the teenagers' misbehavior is a matter of neurology. So we have to fix their amygdala. We have to activate more the orbitofrontal lobe, which is going to help them a lot to act intelligently, rationally, not irrationally. They are working from parts of the brain that are emotional. And then there is the peer pressure. The peer pressure is, just, be cool. And what is to be cool is to challenge your parents, not think about your future. So what is important is to take care of their pleasure reward centers in the brain. What they are Beth will be talking about that, so I'm not going to talk about that. So it's a matter of neurology, that's for sure. It's a matter of the neurochemistry. We are soon going to figure that out, that what is responsible for our behavior is just the neurochemicals, the genes. And then if we fix them, then we have fixed the teenage problems, And that is going to be the main goal of my phonemic intelligence program. I just started it. I couldn't believe that about 25 years ago, experimented it in different forms. Initially, it was called Mind Sound Technology. And then I changed the name to be more sophisticated, to identify the phonemes that go and activate different parts of the brain. That's the research that was done, fMRI research, functional MRI research at Harvard and then at Brain Science International. So how some phonemes can go, or specific phonemes can go and open up or specific areas of the brain. So you can activate any part of the brain. For instance, to be more precise and relevant and practical, there is an area called intraparietal cells, which is recently found that this part of the brain is responsible for your math. And most people are very weak in math. And that is the intraparietal cells. In the beginning, they were thinking of the parietal lobe in general, and then the angular gyrus. We have navigated through our research, trying to identify the precise part of the brain that is responsible for difficulty in math, which is, so to say, is a disease, what they call as dyscalculia. And in the research, it was found out when there is not enough activity in the brain or blood flow, and you have what is called dyscalculia. Dyscalculia is the inability to calculate, which is a problem associated with math. So now I have personally done some experiments here with my machines at home on what kind of brainwave can activate that area. And then I found that the beta waves, can activate down certain type of beta waves, can activate that area of the brain. But then there are other research need to be done. So what we are going to do is to do research on the one hand, but on the other hand, for general public, you don't have to know how Tylenol works. You have a headache, and then you just take a pill, and then your headache is gone. So what works like a pill here is a phoneme. You just use a phoneme, and that phoneme is going to activate a particular area of the brain. So you go on decision making. That is because of the frontal lobe is not functioning as it should be, so that we are not making intelligent decisions. So you have to work on that area with a particular phoneme. Similarly, you can work on your language brain, your Broca area, your Wernicke area. You can also target all of them. They may not be talking about, the scientific terms, but, it's all available. They will give you only just the phonemes, it is just like as I gave you the Tylenol example. It's up to the scientists to figure out all these sophisticated terminology. But I would say, in order to be very practical, these phonemes are not only going to help the teenagers or the parents, it's for everyone. And including to give you omniscience, including to give you even material resources like where it will improve your finances. I have so far talked about the science part of it. I will tell you something which is far more higher than science, which is religion. Okay, that's why Einstein himself said, where science ends, there religion begins. What can, the religious example of how sounds work comes from the Bible, comes from the Vedas. The Vedas are very clear. Jnana adhishtanam matrikaha. Where is the intelligence? Intelligence is in the sounds. This is Lord Shiva talking. And in the Rig Veda, there is a Rig which says, Richokshare Parame Vyamanasmin Devadi Vishveni Shedo Yakshana Esthana Veda Kim Richa Garishishi, which means the sound is the building blocks of everything. And if we don't understand it, then there is no use of chanting the Vedas. That's the meaning of that. So the sounds will go and activate different areas of the brain. This is on the side of Hinduism. Now I'll tell you what Christianity says. In the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God. God said, "Let there be light," and then light was there. So you can create material wealth, or matter itself can be created through sounds, and sounds create matter. And the classic example is Oral Roberts, a famous evangelist. He had no money. God told him to create one of the biggest universities. He said, "I don't have money." No, don't worry about it. Create the university just as he created the world. So he started reading the Bible for 3 months. He was on the knees reading the Bible. Money came in, and he did build a great university. So you can build everything. You can build your financials, resources. You can build your intelligence. You can build everything through the sounds. It is just not only for intelligence, for the brain. It is for everything. It can affect even external nature, even the money, And to give another example is Tesla, who has 700 patents in his name. And he's such a genius. And I have done a lot of research on Tesla. And Tesla used to hear things which is 7 miles away from there is a bell ringing there, he would be able to hear. And one day he said that he was in a park and he was reading a book, Goethe's Faust. He was reciting that. And after that, he was able to invent a machine. Faust, reading Faust, and out aloud, and then getting this knowledge to create a machine. It doesn't make any sense at all for the Western modern mind. But then it did work. He has written that. So sounds can create people like Tesla. He's a great genius, as everyone knows. So what is going to happen is the sound is going to fix the parents, fix the teenagers as well, and everybody. And now we have scientific evidence through phonemic intelligence. You can go and activate the language brain, the math brain, the music brain, and the decision-making brain, and the memory brain. All of them can be targeted through these sounds. So my own, frustration is we have not included the brain-changing education. The brain-changing education, I'm deliberately using this word brain-changing, because if you don't, improve your brain functionality, our students are going to be behind. Because what is the use of, blaming the student for not being, failing in a certain subject or not doing well in a certain subject? The problem is not with the student. He has problem in comprehending math, comprehending physics or chemistry or whatever subject he has problem with. So what do you have to do? You have to go and see and attribute his inability to inadequacies in the brain. That's why I said blame it on the brain. Don't blame the students. Don't blame the teachers, don't blame the tutors. Blame it on the brain. The brain is not functioning. Once you activate those regions of the brain associated with different subjects and they're learning those subjects, then the problem is solved. Why are the educationists not paying attention to strengthening the brain, understanding the brain? We know that, a lot about the brain, when compared to people who knew the brain 100 years ago. Now we know a lot. So why are we not incorporating it into our school system? So at least, we are doing it. We are, small people. We don't have the financial resources to do that, but we started this process, and it will be available. And I want everybody to use this sound. And how long does it take for the sound to work? Ridiculously, like for you to change, for a student to see changes, it takes 2 weeks time. That we have done in our New York schools. And then some of the school principals have said, PI has to be mandated. And we have done in Goa, which is one of the states in India, the Prime Minister has made it mandatory for schools to do that. So he has asked the school, all the government schools under his control, hey, go ahead and introduce PI as part of the system. So we have our PI instructors working on it. The results are amazing. I don't have the statistics. This is the 3rd year we are doing it. So we are going to continue to do that. So we want also all over the world to follow the Goan model. At least the public schools can get interested in it. That doesn't mean the private schools should not get involved. They should also. Everybody should get involved. And more importantly, the parents should get involved in that. The parents are interested in their children, no doubt about it. But they have to also understand that their brain is not working as they should be. So how can you fix their brain? We have to fix their emotional brain. We don't want them to act from the emotional centers of the brain, because it takes for a long time for the frontal lobe to become dominant in the growth process. Some people take 25 years, for the frontal lobe to kick in and then suppress the emotional regions of the brain that is responsible for impulsive, thoughtless, idiotic behavior. So I think, I feel quite fulfilled, satisfied that I have brought something, or I have revived something that already God has given us, to use that technology of sounds to increase our brain functionalities, particularly our intelligence, all kinds of intelligence, math, music, language, how you respond to time, and also error detection. Error detection is the most important thing. There is a part of the brain called the anterior cingulate cortex. The anterior cingulate is responsible for, for instance, when you're eating ice cream, and then you're eating, 1 cup, 2 cups, then the anterior cingulate will say, hey, you are ruining your, your teeth, and there's a lot of sugar, so stop it. Because it detects an error. The error is due to, the error can be detected by the anterior cingulate due to a particular neuron called von Economo neuron. That's a very special neuron we found humans and only with a few animals like monkeys, dolphins, and elephants. So the error detection is very important because the brain itself is going to tell you, don't do that. So there are innumerable benefits. I can go on, but what I want you to do, it's not, if the parents and children, if they can get together and work together, and then I have to become, the parents should say now that, I have to become intelligent, you have to become intelligent, we have to become geniuses, that's how I want the program to grow, because of the participation of the parents in the program. And then we will make the program as a fun program, and it takes very little time, maybe 10 minutes in the evening, 10 minutes in the morning, this will do a world of good. So I'm happy that, we are making it available online for people from all over the world to use it. And I'm sure that people will see the results and will incorporate it in their daily practice. God bless.